not sufficient for institutions or professionals like us to simply survive volatility. We must learn to create value from it, to benefit from it, to adapt, and to grow stronger. As actuaries, our role goes beyond analysis. It extends to leadership, stewardship, and innovation. This conference is a space for us to reflect, retool, reimagine, and reimagine how we add value and build resilience in everything we do. Our profession is a calling to build resilience, equip businesses and institutions to thrive amid uncertainty and change. Over the next 2 days, we will explore big ideas and practical tools through sessions such as InsurTech, AI workshops, and a lot of other engaging topics that we have lined up. I'd like to recognize the presence of the Commissioner for Insurance, ably represented by the Deputy Commissioner for Insurance, Dr. Jankara. I would also like to recognize the Director General of the Nigerian Insurance Association, also ably represented by Mr. Lanre Ojola. I would also like to formally recognize our friends, the President of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries, Katrina Thompson, as well as the President of the Society of Actuaries, Amanda Rozok. And to all of you, our distinguished guests that have traveled from far and wide, including from the US, friends from University of Illinois, friends from Casualty Actuarial Society, and all of you. Your presence here reaffirms our shared commitment to a globally connected and forward-looking profession. To our friends, actuaries, associates, students, I want to thank you all for your support. I think I'm more confident that all of the conversations that we have here today, tomorrow, and the social night we'll have also tomorrow, I think they are testaments to our professional and our social development. A heartfelt thank you to our conference organizing committee, once again our sponsors, our partners, and everyone working tirelessly behind the scene. Let's make the most of these 2 days, sharing knowledge, shaping solutions, and building a future defined by value, resilience, and lasting impact. Thank you all once again, and I wish you a successful, energizing, and inspiring conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the NAS Presidents. We're very excited and privileged to have 2 external keynote addresses this morning, and our first one, the opening keynote, Mr. Usman Jakarta Jamidi, the Deputy Commissioner from NICOM. I'll give a very quick introduction as he walks forward. Dr. Usman Jakara serves as a Deputy Commissioner for Insurance, Finance and Administration at the National Insurance Commission and NICOM. He was appointed in April 2024 by President Tinubu. He brings over 2 decades of experience in administration, strategy, regulatory affairs within Nigeria's insurance sector. Dr. Jankara began his professional journey in 2002 as an administrative officer at Sakampu Nigeria Limited. Sorry if I've got that pronunciation terribly wrong. He has since held various leadership roles, strategic initiatives and overseeing special projects. Academically, he holds a PhD from UNICAF University and a Master's in Business Administration from the National. In his current role, he's committed to enhancing financial governance, promoting operational efficiency and fostering innovation within NICOM. His leadership is pivotal and driving the Commission towards achieving its strategic goals in strengthening its regulatory framework. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning again. Let me start by not just standing on existing protocol, but first recognizing the presence here this morning of the Registrar and Director General of the Chartered Insurance Institute. I have to recognize that because my ACI certificate is still very important, so I have to. I do know that there are presidents and presidents of NAS. There are also those of IFOA and that of the casualty, actuary, whatever it is. I welcome you all to Nigeria. Interestingly, I was asking her this morning, how did she manage her flight? You know, we are in a very trying time. I don't know how you find it when you boarded flights and you're flying across the Middle East. It's not something we should wish for the world, but having scaled through and you are in Nigeria and having now been at the mercy of Trump, who could decide tomorrow that there could be another crisis and then wake up to say, please stop it, you guys, stop it, and we'll then move on. Well, it's a world we're in. So I just want to say it is my singular honor and privilege to once again deliver this keynote address on behalf of Mr. Olusegun Ayo Omoseyin, the Commissioner for Insurance of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is unavoidably absent. He's actually out of the country. But however, he has extended his sincere apologies and warm greetings to all participants here present. We are gathered here today to explore the theme, creating value and building resilience in an evolving industry. This theme is relevant as the Nigerian insurance sector continues to undergo significant transformation driven by technological innovation, shifting consumer expectations, and evolving regulatory framework. It is reassuring to note that the industry has shown tremendous resilience and growth. As of Q1 2025, Nigeria's insurance sector recorded a 63% increase in gross premium income compared to Q1 2024, reaching 769.2 billion naira in just the first 3 months of 2025. This growth reflects market confidence and increasing relevance of insurance in the Nigerian economy. In the same period, the industry total assets stood at 4.12 trillion, underscoring a stronger financial foundation of the industry. Claims paid amounted, of course, to 159 billion. Whilst these figures represent a positive improvement in the industry's loss ratio when compared to Q1 2024, it also represents 89.1% of total reported claims, indicating improved responsiveness of the industry to stakeholders. These data represent financial protection for lives, families, businesses, and futures that were secured. In a dynamic environment such as this, the insurance industry must not only adapt, but lead with foresight, integrity, and resilience. In this context, actuaries play a critical role considering their expertise in risk modeling, data analytics, and long-term financial planning, which are very essential to ensuring that insurance products remain sustainable, inclusive, and responsive to emerging risk. As we face the challenges such as climate risk, cyber threats, and health system vulnerabilities, the actuarial profession must continue to innovate and lead. You are key to designing effective risk management strategies and developing products that meet the evolving needs of our society. At the National Insurance Commission, we are committed to fostering a regulatory environment that supports innovation, protects policyholders, ensures transparent claims processes, and promotes long-term industry sustainability. We are strengthening our supervisory framework, encouraging digital transformation, and supporting inclusive insurance models. We also recognize the power of collaboration. Our partnership with the Nigerian Actuarial Society, including recently the discount rate committee, and the issuance of regulatory directives such as the supplementary annuity guideline remain central to our strategy for building a more resilient industry. The monthly discount rate data, for example, has improved the accuracy of liability valuations, ALM, and risk management, among others. It has also standardized discount rate and brought consistency and reliability to liability calculations across the industry. Another major milestone from our collaboration with NAS is the supplementary annuity guidelines. These guidelines has introduced new requirements for life insurers underwriting annuity business, including the mandatory appointment of a qualified actuary to oversee ALM reports, conduct stress testing, and ensure regular actuarial investment reviews. These measures are designed to enhance portfolio stability, regulatory compliance, and annuitant protection. Looking ahead, the opportunities are vast. The integration of AI, big data, and predictive analytics is transforming how risks are assessed and managed. Of course, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement has also opened new doors for regional insurance solutions. Furthermore, given Nigeria's youthful tech-savvy population, Nigeria is well positioned to lead in digital insurance. To seize this opportunity, we must invest in talent, uphold global standards, and foster a culture of continuous learning and ethical leadership while exploring new opportunities such as InsurTech. As part of our strategy at the National Insurance Commission in this regard, a guidance for InsurTech operation in Nigeria has been concluded and is about to be issued. The Commission has also launched the Actuarial Capacity Development Initiative, which is intended to build actuarial talent and efforts ongoing to implement. However, there are a lot of challenges, key among which is funding. We are actively engaging development partners such as the Africa Re Foundation, GIZ, UNDP, and other international donors to secure funding and support for this initiative. While these efforts are ongoing, it has become imperative for the Nigerian insurance industry to bite the bullet and commit to funding deliberate actuarial capacity development in Nigeria. I therefore call on all stakeholders, particularly insurers, actuaries, and educators, to continue to work together to build a resilient industry that is inclusive and value-driven. We must continually champion policies that support actuarial development, encourage research, and ensure that our industry remains a pillar of economic stability and social protection. Finally, before I leave the stage, I wish to extend the Commission's gratitude to the Nigerian Actuarial Society for its unwavering support, including your contributions to the Masters in Actuarial Science program at the University of Lagos. This conference is also another testament to your commitment to excellence and collaboration. Well done. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all fruitful and value-adding deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Husman. Okay, so that was quite early. Before we continue, let me just introduce myself. Some of you may know me. My name is Olanirewaji Ibidapo, and I'm a council member with Nigerian Actuarial Society, NAS. And I'll be the deputy MC for today, a co-host as it is. Actually, we're supposed to have Dr. Rabiu Olowo, the Executive Secretary of the Financial Reporting Council, be with us for the next keynote speech, but as it is, we'll still have to wait a bit. So while we wait, I'll just say maybe we'll use this opportunity to just say hello and maybe meet with more people. Yeah, I don't know.
YG, I can't see you. YG? Otherwise, we'll move on to session number 1, but I just need to make sure our speaker is here. So we could do. I've got session 1 is the. Okay. Yeah, we could have Katina. Okay, you guys give. Sorry? You guys give a light. Okay. Okay. That's Cartina's.
Not many times you have actuaries used to optimistic assumptions. So we made 2 prudent assumptions by giving 30 minutes, but here we are. So while we wait for the next...
So we're going to do Katina, but we're just getting her slides, so we'll be fine.
Okay, so Katina, in a few minutes you'll be ready, yeah?
We're getting the slides.
Okay, so I guess we have a lifesaver. So while we wait for Dr. Olowo, so we'll just move on to Katina, who has graciously accepted to take a session a bit early, just 18 minutes early. So a brief introduction. Ms. Katina Tahir Thompson is the IFOA president. She brings 25 years of diverse actuarial risk management, governance, and regulatory experience. Her earlier career includes a Big Four audit firm, the Bank of England, global insurance carriers, and brokers. Her most recent executive role is with Willis Towers Watson in the UK as a senior director, where she leads the risk regulation and governance proposition as well as non-executive positions. Katina has served on the IFOA Council for 6 years and is a member of its Audit and Risk Committee. She also sits on the board of directors of the Actuarial Association of Europe. She has also been chair of the IFOA Foundation for the past 3 years, where she can channel her passion for inclusion, social mobility, and education. She became IFOA president in July 2024. Please, a round of applause for Ms. Katina as she takes her session.
Thank you. We talk about resilience, right, today, and this is it, I guess. And can I... Apologies. So whilst the slide starts loading up, the first thing that I was going to talk about is kind of the test, right? The test of resilience and sustainability in our profession. And the test is around, actually, do we want to be resilient? And that's a challenge. Do we want to be sustainable? Because if you think about it, we are here. We are relatively successful. We already make an impact in the industry and for our stakeholders. So the question is, why do we want to have additional work in terms of doing it for the next generation? And I hope you agree with me that it is very important and we all have a role to play here. And it's not just associations, membership associations, it's not just IFOA, SOA, CAS, NAS, that has a role here on ensuring the sustainability and the resilience of the actuarial profession, but all of us here have a role to play for the next generation of actuaries. And I think it's important for us to embrace that because it's about not just the education, it's not just about professionalism, but it's about our behaviors as well. It's about our mindset. So I think it's important for us to agree on that. And then I'll go into kind of the next session. Are we going to do a double act? I don't know what we're going to say, but it's important. That's what we're going to say. There you go. Okay, can we move to the next slide? So today, as I mentioned, the tests, which I've already gone through, so you don't have to go through that. But I wanted to talk about the what. How are we going to do this? And also the call for action that all of us can do on this topic. Next slide, please. So talked about kind of, do we want to drive value? Do we want to be resilient? And we've already kind of talked about why it's important. And this dovetails into not just my presidential theme. Next slide, please. But also the vision that Council have set, IFOA Council has set this year around how we deliver this. So when I saw the NAS conference theme, I was really happy because it resonates with me and it links up with kind of the thing that I feel very passionate about, which is ensuring a sustainable future for the next generation of actuaries. And as I said, it's not just one person's role, it's a collective endeavor. And it's a strategic, it's a long-term endeavor as well, and it requires us to be a bit selfless as well around this. So next step. So because of that, the IFA has kind of talked through what is our vision around this. And our vision is to be global, professional body qualifying and supporting and championing actuaries, serving the public interest and advancing actuarial science. So there's a lot of words there, but it's not just about the education. It's not just when you pass, you qualify for your exams. It's about the impact that we make, not just for our employers. Yes. Not just for our employers, but for society. So we have a role around public interest and advancing the thinking around the techniques that we do, the relevance that we have in the work that we have, the work that we do, and in society as well. So when we think about that, there's three big areas that we talked about, and that's around supporting the global community of the actuarial profession, making sure that our members are supported, and how we reposition the profession. So we're really great at making an impact in what we call the traditional domains, so insurance, pensions, investments, etc. But there are other things that we can get involved in and add value around the world, and I'll talk about that in a bit more. Council has also kind of, from that vision, thought about the vision principles, how we guide through, what are the guide rails that we are going to focus on over the next few years. And there's a lot there. We came up with 9 principles, but fundamentally it's about what I talked about before. It's about supporting our next generation of actuaries, so around education and lifelong learning. It's around professional standards and regulation, how we give assurance to our stakeholders that they can rely on our credibility, our professionalism, our technical capabilities. And also making sure that, as I mentioned before, the members are very supported, not just at the start of their journey, any time in their journey. And of course, underlying this is the importance of technology and innovation, and also acknowledging changes, the rapid changes that we are experiencing going at the moment and going forward. So the what is what is it that is going to change, and how are we going to adapt to it? Next slide, please. So for me, it's around five big things. I think in terms of the big bets over the next few years, that there's quite a few things that we can focus on. One is making a bigger impact and making an optimal impact in the traditional role that we have. So things like what we do in insurance, general insurance, life insurance, pensions, investments, etc. There's loads of innovation around these areas, and we are certainly at the forefront of this. I think we are certainly going to exist in wider domains. There's a lot of courageous and creative actuaries around, and they are entering different areas and different domains as well. And I'll talk a bit about that. And I mentioned making an impact in the traditional role that we have. I think there's a lot that we can do around the sustainability of the planet, climate risks, climate change, and a lot of our actuaries are doing that as well. Thank you. And tech, digital technology, innovation around that is something that we are great at making an impact on, especially around data analytics and AI. But fundamentally, we are still going to be impactful in how we support society, our long-term public policy, and things like that. Sorry. So I mentioned before the typical areas of work. You all know this, but we're all in this area, and the stuff that we do around these areas are already very impactful. But when I talk to people about and stakeholders about what they think actuaries bring to the table, these are the words that they come up with: analytical thinking, creative thinking, big data, AI, curiosity, motivation, resilience, and that's all great words. And all actuaries should be secure in knowing that their credibility is really, really high with the stakeholders. But I think there is a lot more that for us to do. And the first thing, as I mentioned, is making a big impact on the things that we are already good at. So things like longevity, mortality, and things like that. We're all going to live longer, and so we have the opportunity to be more impactful around the creative solutions that we can come up with to support society, to support people in terms of long-term savings, investments, etc. I also think from a societal perspective, we have a lot that we can make an impact around social care. A lot of countries around the world have an aging population, perhaps not here, but we have a role to play around that, and again, being creative around solutions is important, and recognizing the intergenerational fairness point. So, for example, in the UK, because people are living longer, and because savings are quite a societal and systemic thing, the younger generations perhaps are paying quite a lot more for the older generation and the comfort for the older generation by this assumption. So actuaries have quite a big role to play around that and thinking about creative solutions. I think we have a role around climate, certainly. Climate risk, climate change. Indeed, quite a lot of actuaries now are going into climate work and calling themselves climate actuaries. And this is a worldwide issue, right? This is something that we can contribute on, and we can play a critical role and multi-generational risks. But it's also around making sense of what the risks are and the link of the risks around that. and the topics are growing at pace, and it is something that we should be thinking about. And certainly at the IFOA, we're doing quite a lot of research on that. And I wanted to draw your attention to some of the research that we've done around this topic. It's really interesting. We have a really strong, really big group of volunteers that became part of this work, and the titles are quite interesting as well. New climate scenarios, the Emperor's new climate scenarios, climate scorpion, etc. So if you haven't already done so, please do have a look at that. But I wanted to kind of mention as well the latest report that talked about the planetary solvency framework. So this is a call for action for companies, for stakeholders, for regulators, for policymakers to think about the impact that climate has, and the financial impact as well. It's not just non-financial, but this is the financial impact on this. And I called out a few words there. It is overwhelmingly positive economically to avoid planetary insolvency, and a call, a recommendation around systemic risk officers at supranational levels, recognizing the need for nature positive pathways and transition plans, and how actuaries can get engaged with it. So a lot of good recommendations, and it is being linked to regulators and policymakers as well. So we're continuously trying to make an impact around that. I think around climate, there's a lot. It's not just a specific climate actuaries that are working on this. Any actuaries need to be part of a recognition or increase their knowledge around climate. Certainly in pensions, it's been done around investment values and returns, general insurance, certainly having an awareness around how climate impacts natural and man-made catastrophes, and how it impacts capital and reserving and pricing. Equally with life and health as well. Finance and investments, how it impacts investment returns, transition plans, and asset risks. And then fundamentally the risk management of insurance firms or non-insurance firms. So looking at it from a scenario analysis perspective, capital management, regulation, and fundamentally recovery and resolution plan. But I also mentioned that we are going to get involved, and we are already involved in AI and technology. And I think this is an exciting place for us to be. There's certainly opportunity. A lot of people have asked me, is it going to be a threat for us? And there's a lot of benefits on AI. As you know, it enhances societal functions, etc. But of course, there are challenges as well. You can't use it blindly, and there are unintended consequences of AI as well. And this is something that we can make an impact in because of our understanding of and our knowledge around the area. So we can talk through kind of the financial and financial and insurance exclusion. So for example, because of our understanding of the insurance data or claims data, we can test the output of AI models, etc. And we can have AI is here to stay. The World Economic Forum Future of Work report listed down all these skills that is going to be resilient in the future: analytical thinking and innovation, active learning and learning strategies, complex problem solving, critical thinking, etc. And I don't know if you noticed, but a few slides before in the word cloud by stakeholders when they think about actuaries. And so that's why I think that we are going to flourish. We are not just going to be resilient, but we are going to flourish in the future. But it is going to change. It's going to change our role. It's going to change what we do. I think definitely for the better. So I hope that all the boring stuff that we do, like data manipulation, data cleansing, etc., can be taken away. And it's already been taken away by a lot of AI and models. But we are going to do the fun bit, the stuff that we add value. So the challenge aspect, the making sense of the data aspect, and understanding the domains that we work in, and that's where we're going to add value. But definitely it starts with education. And we have a lot of things that we can do around that. But fundamentally, whatever that we do, there is a public interest element that we have, just about the commerciality of the work that we do, but we also think about society. We also think about how we continue to be impactful around this area, work with policymakers, work with governments, and partner and support them in making. And the reason why we do this is because we do need to be member-led around the thinking around this area, and making sure that we support our public in this point. So how are we going to do this? I think education is key. I think it starts from the beginning. Certainly having not just the core and optionality in certainly the IFOA exams is important. It's recognizing that we have a minimal expectation of what the skill sets that our actuaries have, so the core side of things. But we also want to produce a broad type of actuaries, and we want to support actuaries in whatever they want to do. So that's why we have a few optionalities in our exams. And the reason for that is we want to encourage breadth and depth in the actuaries that we have. And that's not just being really deep in one domain, but that's also making sure that we can support them in being creative, in entering new domains, and doing whatever that they need to do and they want to do, and what they're interested in doing. That's a bit of the exams that we have. I won't go through them definitely, but the first couple of pathways it's not pathways, but it's the core exams that we have to do, and then the later ones are the optionalities that we have. And speaking of optionalities, we do have quite a bit that we have around this. So it's not just life insurance, general insurance, but it's also pensions, enterprise risk management, banking, investments, and health and care as well. So we are here to support our actuaries to do what they need to do. I wanted to mention a bit about the chartered actuary as well. I'm sure some of you have heard this, and some of you have already adopted it. But in November last year, we introduced this designation, chartered actuary, because of the Royal Charter aspect of our organization. So we are a Royal Charter body, and we can call our actuaries a chartered actuary. And that's essentially to support our actuaries globally, not just in the UK, in terms of the recognition of the skills, the qualification, the value that they bring into any work that they do. And this is great because the word chartered is immediately recognized by quite a lot of people, like chartered accountants, chartered engineers, etc. So if you haven't already done so, the IFO actuaries, please do consider engaging with this. And basically, that's the post-nominals that you can have, FIAC Act or AIAC Act. I wanted to highlight the feedback on a member. I mean, we've received quite a lot of positive feedback from our members who have adopted the Chartered Actuary designation. But this member is in the Middle East, and he said it's really great, especially in the growing market where kind of the recognition of actuaries isn't just there yet, but having the word chartered supports that recognition. A few things in terms of the how as well. I mentioned a few times about public interest, and you know that's what we're focused on in the IFOA. But we're also focused on the future actuaries as well. So, you know, we have about 15,000 students around the world, and 35,000 members in 120 countries. So we do really want to support the growth of the actuarial profession globally. We talked a lot about commerciality, skill sets, public interest, but the reason why people trust us is because of the professionalism that we have, the ethics that we focus on, and the professional code of conduct that we abide ourselves to. And I'm quite passionate about this, because without this, that defines our behavior, you know, that it's basically not going to help our credibility. So having an actuary's code as part of our role is important, around speaking up, having integrity, having clear communications, etc. And it's important that all actuaries, all IFOA actuaries, abide by this. The other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the support of the resilience of the actuarial profession is around the importance of research and thought leadership. And it's not just about kind of the exams, it's about how we develop our thinking, how we progress our thinking, how we continue to be resilient in the future, and how we support our members in terms of doing their role. And it's important that this is member-led, and we must make sure that, you know, whatever techniques or pronouncement that we have in public interest is done through collaboration. So not just you know, somebody telling us that this is what we have to do. It should be forward-looking because of the resilient point, and most importantly, it needs to be evidence-based, which is important. And what we want to do as well is, because of the focus on member-led, making sure our members and volunteers have the autonomy and the empowerment to do what they want to do. If they want to do certain research because they think it's important, then we will support them in whatever they need to do. And whatever it is, whatever research that we do, thought leadership, it needs to be outcome-focused, impactful, and value-add. So the call of action for me is we need to celebrate member-centric behavior. So we want to make sure that we work with members, we have the culture to do what we want to do, so to engage. We want to empower people to make decisions, focus on delivery, and most importantly, being agile in terms of reflecting the changes that we are exposed to in the work that we do at the moment. And react on feedback. That's the most important thing as well, not just the agility point. But fundamentally, we are a community that we work together on in terms of collaboration, in terms of working together, in terms of having the culture of supporting each other in our community. And I think that's the important thing, being part of a resilient work that we do. I mentioned already before, this is basically to summarize what we are focused on in terms of the qualification and being impactful and highly valued and being global, and focus on how we support our members continuously in their work that the work that they do. But we all have a role to play. At the start, I mentioned it's not just about the association, it's not just about the individuals, but everyone has a role to play here. So my ask of you, please, is have a growth mindset, be happy to fail, have the courage to try something. It's not just about doing things that you already know works. Try new things. And if you want to get involved in research, for example, just do it, and you'll get support in however you do it. But having a growth mindset and being able to being okay to fail and dust yourself up again to go forward. The second is be curious and embrace change. We are in a changing environment, a rapidly changing environment. You see the geopolitical things that's happening recently. Even though we typically focus on long term, but we do make an impact in the short term as well. So be curious and be innovative and embrace change. And fundamentally, trust yourself and work together. It is a collaborative approach. It's not just for individuals. And it is a collaborative approach, not just with associations, but with the industries that we work and with governments and regulators as well. So with that, I am going to stop and hopefully that... And I will stop there. Thank you. If you have any comments, feedback, please do come and talk to me. Thank you very much.
If anybody's got any questions for Cartina, we've got time for a couple of questions. If anyone wants to put their hand. No? Okay, thank you very much.
I've not started and the speaker is stopping me already, so I'll just do what I can.
Oh, should I do those and then hand over?
Yeah, I'll just wanted to pick some things from, I think, the last three things that Katina mentioned. I think the first thing she said, be okay to fail. I think actuaries, more often than none, we are more familiar with failing actuarial exams, so I don't think that should be strange for us. He said, be curious. Yeah, we study a lot of things, always curious, and I said, trust yourself, and let's work together. That's one part I think actuaries should do better, working together. We self-study, so we hardly work together. We do our calculations, get stuck in our own things, so we don't even try to collaborate. So I think we should learn to collaborate more. Trust yourself. We do a lot of stuff and trusting anyway, but work together as actuaries and with all stakeholders. So that struck me. Thank you, Katina.
Thank you very much. We've got a QR code on the screen, so if anyone wants to give feedback, please can you do that now? And also, please, could we recognise Mrs. Bola Odokale, the NIA Director General? You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. And please, can we also recognise Mrs. Abimbola
Tiamiyu.
She's the registrar from the Chartered Insurance Institutes of Nigeria. Thank you very much. We recognise you. Right, we'll hand you over to our keynote speech. I'll pass you over to Landre for the introduction.
All right, thank you very much. And for our keynote speech, the second one, we'll be welcoming Dr. Rabi Olowo, the Executive Secretary of the Financial Reporting Council. Dr. Rabi Olowo, PhD, is a qualified chartered accountant in both Nigeria and the UK. He's also a chartered stockbroker, chartered tax practitioner, certified internal controls auditor, SCA certified in International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS, and Internal Public Sector Accounting Standard, IPSAS. certified fraud examiner with an MBA from the University of Lagos, and MS Accounting and Finance from the Robert Gordon University of Aberdeen in the UK. I need to take a deep breath for that. Okay, thank you. Dr. Olowo served as the 22nd Commissioner for Finance in Lagos State, 2019 to 2023, where he successfully managed the fiscal policy strategy of the 5th largest economy in Africa during one of the most challenging periods in the world's history during COVID-19. Before entering mainstream public sector, Dr. Olowo has been an experienced chief finance and audit executive across industries, having worked for top local and multinational organizations including Zenith Bank PLC, British pharmaceutical giant GlaxoSmithKline, Dutch global dairy leader Friesland Campaigner, Chartered Institute of Management Accountants CIMA UK, Association of Certified Fraud Examiners ACFE USA, development finance organizations working in multiple geographies with project immersion across Africa, Europe, Middle East, and the USA. He is a professor of practice in forensic accounting, development, finance, and public policy at the Africa Academy for Counter-Fraud and Anti-Corruption Studies, ASCAS, an executive in residence at Lagos State University and James Hope University Business School. He has significant experience in corporate financial reporting, public accounting and financial management, and the development of corporate governance frameworks and internal control systems that cut across multiple industries. A sought-after speaker on corporate governance, accountability, finance, and fraud issues, Dr. Olowo offers his knowledge at business schools, companies' in-house trainings, and global conferences. He was the first Nigerian invited to present a paper at the ACFE Global Fraud Conference in Baltimore, USA in 2015 with over 2,000 delegates. He holds a PhD in forensic accounting and auditing. His numerous research works, including The Future of Finance, Whistleblowing Culture in Africa, Sustainable Finance Options in Agri-Value Chain, etc., have been recognized as major contributions in the field of business, accounting, and public policy. He is an alumni of Harvard Kennedy School of Government, Blavatnik School of Government at the University of Oxford, and Cranfield University School of Management. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Olowo as we welcome him on stage. You're welcome, sir.
Distinguished guests, let me start with the President of the Nigerian Actuarial Society, Mr. Jolaolu Fakoya, and also the former President, Ms. Yeside Kazim. I want to thank you for your long-standing commitment to the actuarial profession in Nigeria. The President of the Society of Actuaries, Amanda Hogg, and other SOA delegates here, particularly Zain Ibrahim, the Regional Director for the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia, who has been very, very supportive of the Nigerian cause. Our friend, President Katina Tyrell Thompson, it's good to see you again, and other representatives of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries UK. President of the Casualty Actuarial Society, David Conning, good to see you again. Members of the Nigerian Actuarial Society, officials of government ministries, departments, regulatory agencies here present, industry leaders, academia, I could see students as well, particularly our lecturers from various universities across Nigeria offering actuarial science degree programs. Our development partners, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. It is a privilege and honor to be here. Don't mind me dressing like I'm going to a party, huh? There's so many events for today. It is a great privilege for me, an honor to deliver this keynote address at the 2025 Annual Industry Conference of the Nigerian Actuarial Society. I bring warm greetings from the Financial Reporting Council and wish to express our sincere appreciation to the leadership of the Nigerian Actuarial Society for the kind invitation and for your steadfast commitment to the advancement of actuarial profession in Nigeria. The theme for this year's conference, creating value and building resilience in an evolving industry, could not be more timely. Across the globe, we are witnessing profound shifts in how value is measured, how risk is assessed, how systems respond to the rapid changes, from the rise of artificial intelligence to climate uncertainty, sustainability reporting, geographical realignment to the evolving nature of financial products in our markets. We're living in a world of complexity and unpredictability. And yet, amid this flux, one thing remains constant: the pivotal role of actuaries in navigating uncertainty, guiding long-term decisions, and building sustainable systems. The actuarial profession is uniquely positioned through its deep foundations in mathematics, risk modeling, and financial foresight. To lead this moment, the question is not whether actuaries are relevant. The question is whether we are fully leveraging their expertise to create value and resilience for the society, especially in Nigeria and in Africa. At the Financial Reporting Council, we have responded to this imperative with action. Early last year, we operationalized the Directorate of Actuarial Standards as one of the key pillars of the financial sector reform in Nigeria. This move was not cosmetic. It wasn't administrative. It was strategic. We recognize that for Nigeria to build a resilient and competitive economy, we need a robust pipeline of actuarial experts. Let me be frank. Nigeria currently has fewer than 30 qualified actuaries. An economy which is similar to ours, South Africa, has about 2,000. This is a capacity gap that directly affects our ability to manage pension funds, price risk, value liabilities, and our ability to attract and retain investment. But we are not standing still. Through strong partnerships, including many of you represented here today, we are committed to building Nigeria's actuarial capacity and aligning with global standards. Today's actuaries are not only designing insurance products or calculating pension liabilities, they are modeling the financial implications of climate change, anticipating demographic shifts and healthcare trends, supporting financial stability through stress testing and solvency analysis, advising on digital risks, cyber threats, and the ethical use of artificial intelligence. As a regulator, we depend on actuaries to help answer difficult questions. How do we value assets in an increasingly intangible economy? How do we protect public interest with fostering innovation? How do we integrate risk, sustainability, and resilience into the long-term economic planning of our nation, of our organization? These are the frontiers where actuarial science must operate, and these are the challenges we must tackle together. Under my leadership, the Financial Reporting Council has rolled out a number of strategic initiatives to build actuarial capacity in Nigeria and to integrate actuarial principles into financial governance. Let me highlight a few. The Nigerian Actuarial Development Program, these are flagship national initiative developed in partnership with the Nigerian Actuarial Society, NICOM, PENCOM, and the NIA, including the big four professional firms, to nurture talent, support universities, and grow the next generation of actuaries. Global partnerships and support. We have deepened our engagement with the IFOA. We were in London last year at the IFOA. We've deepened our engagement with the SOA, the CAS, whose continued support for actuarial tuition, capacity building, examination fee relief is deeply appreciated, and our students from Nigeria are taking maximum opportunity of these concessions. Regulatory development. We have just developed the exposure draft of the Nigerian Actuarial Practice Regulations 2025, which proposes the adoption of international standards of actuarial practice to be fully integrated into Nigeria's regulatory framework. Support for graduate excellence. We now offer bursaries for FRC staff to begin with, to pursue professional actuarial qualifications. Additionally, we provide examination fee refunds for any Nigerian candidate who passes any exam from the IFOA, SOA, and CAS. I thought that would our intervention in these areas are not cosmetic. We truly understand the gap that we have here, and we are truly committed to filling this gap. We also support mentorship and career development programs for top MSc Actuarial Science students across Nigerian universities. Actuarial Education Advocacy Program. Our Catch Them Young initiative has already reached over 10,000 students across 7 universities. I've been to more than 3 myself personally, and more than 8 secondary schools. We believe resilience starts with talent, and talent must be identified early. A national policy on actuarial education and professional development, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Education and the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, we will be spearheading a design of a bold national policy framework to provide federal funding for actuarial education at tertiary and postgraduate levels. Introduce actuarial science as a subject at secondary school level. Integrate actuarial concepts within primary school social science curricula to spark early interest. This is no small task. It will require comprehensive curriculum redesign, as well as recruitment and training of qualified educators. But if Nigeria is to be globally competitive, this is the pathway we must take. As we engage in robust discussions today and tomorrow, I urge all stakeholders, local and international, to reflect on 3 key imperatives. 1, collaboration. Across borders, disciplines, sectors, we must work together to scale impact. Purposeful value creation is number 2. Let us embed purpose into our models, not just profit, but public good. Resilience as a system is number 3. Financial resilience must be embedded in institutions, governance, education, and public policy. These are not the responsibility of one society or one council alone. They are the collective mission of everyone in this room. Let me commend the Nigerian Actuarial Society for your bold leadership, your collaborative spirit, and your clear vision for the future. This conference is evidence of how far we have come and a reminder of how much further we must go. To our guests from the IFOA, SOA, CAS, and other global institutions here present, I want to thank you for walking this journey with us. Nigeria is committed to building a profession that is not only globally recognized, but globally relevant. Please do not relent in your support whenever Nigeria comes calling. And to the young actuaries and students here today, the future belongs to you, but it will not be handed to you. You must shape it. And we are doing everything possible to ensure it is a future of impact, relevance, and possibility. Ladies and gentlemen, the value we create today will determine the resilience we enjoy tomorrow. Let us rise to the occasion, deepen our collaborations, and together build an actuarial profession that shapes not just forecasts, but futures. Thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you for your kind attention. I wish you all a productive and inspiring conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Has anybody got any questions for Dr. Rabiu? No? All right. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to move on to our first session of the conference, InsurTech and Value Creation for a Changing Economic Landscape. Please, can I welcome Mr. Babatunde Fajmer-Okun, the MD of ICO. So I'll give a brief introduction. Mr. Babatunde is the Managing Director, CEO of Icon Insurance PLC, which he's held since 2019. He started his career at ICO as Divisional Head Operations and Technology before moving into Chief Operating Officer, then Chief Business Officer before becoming CEO. He's also worked as a visiting lecturer of the Department of Economics and Enterprise at Glasgow Caledonian University in Scotland, and other roles including Accenture Lagos and Capgemini Consulting in the UK. Babatunde is a Fellow of the Society of Underwriting Professionals, Chartered Insurance Institute UK, and a Chartered Insurer, and he has an MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, a Business Information Strategy Master's Degree Distinction from the University of Strathclyde, and a Bachelor's Degree in Business Economics from Glasgow, UK. Okay, we welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you. So there should be a timer that will come on.
Thank you. All right, good morning. I actually have some slides, so unlike the, okay. First of all, I want to recognize the leadership of NAS, the leadership of our regulator. I can see the Deputy Commissioner here. The leadership of the NIA. I can see my DG proudly here, and the team. And the leadership of CIN. Of course, able professionals, student members. I stand on existing protocols provided by Dr. Rabiu. Thank you all for having me here. Today, I'll be talking on InsurTech as a catalyst for value and resilience. And it's interesting. I mean, for me, I worked in Accenture, Capgemini, where I helped clients with technology before coming into insurance. Of course, insurance has taken complete control of my life now. I'm not sure if I can do justice to technology anymore, but I'll see what I can do. In terms of the content for today, yes, so I'll take briefly through an introduction, the market context and opportunity, our view of what InsurTech is, an applied innovation in the field, key considerations, and a conclusion. So in terms of introductions, I was introduced nicely. Thank you. First of all, I want to welcome everyone to our exploration of how InsurTech is redefining insurance in Nigeria. I've been introduced. I don't need to say my name again. But at ICO, we remain steadfast in our commitment to actuarial development and industry transformation. We've partnered with the NAS several times, and I think that reflects our shared vision for innovation and excellence in our industry. Today, we'll examine how InsurTech intersects with value creation and economic resilience, offering insights into the transformative potential of technology in addressing Nigeria's unique insurance needs. On the left side is just a picture of ICO's virtual assistant. So that's just to tell you that we're doing something. not working. Yeah, technology does this. Right. Okay, in terms of the market context, I thought it was important to also provide some level of context. Of course, we already know how our economy is. Nigeria faces quite a lot of significant challenges: soaring inflation, currency devaluation, fiscal constraints, fundamentally altering customer behavior and purchasing power. We've seen these inflation pressures. We're currently at 22 point something, still very high. We've seen our currency devalue significantly over the last few years. And of course, which of course affects the level of investments that we experience in our industry. Just for some context, we had an investor come into ICO in 2019, 2020, when Naira was 320 or 350. There's no amount of returns we can do to be able to provide the excellent returns that we require on dollars. So that provides a lot of challenges for investors to come into our market. But there's a lot of digital acceleration. There's a growing demand for tech-enabled, resilient, and scalable insurance solutions. And we'll delve into that briefly. In terms of the Nigerian market dynamics, we have over 200 million active mobile subscribers as of 2022. About 40 million SMEs, 56 million BVN, or registered banking customers. We have over 387 trillion value of electronic transactions as of 2022, and a very youthful population. These numbers are compelling. And if anyone will look at the business case of our industry, you would see that the commercial segment is almost fully saturated. Opportunities exist in deepening penetration, increased focus on retail, and of course the SME segments. There's a need for strategic partnerships with affinity groups, telcos, and payment platforms. And I think this is key to driving innovation. There's a lot of demand for retail products, such as home, personal accident, protection, and liability insurances. We see this rising. The key thing is, how do we get to these customers in the most effective way? So what's the need? We have, in our view, an underserved population of about 80 million Nigerians who are uninsured, representing a vast untapped potential. There's a lot of digital consumption, shifts in customer habits. We're seeing a lot of people using technology more. You go to Gen Z's homes nowadays, I don't think you see televisions in place. Most times you see phones and other devices. Protection gap, obviously there's a need for low-cost, trusted protection delivered digitally to emerging consumers. And those consumers that are really just coming up, which represents a significant aspect of the Nigerian populace. And of course, payment platform potential. We've seen the fastest growing companies across Africa and in Nigeria include companies like MoneyPoint, PalmPay, Flutterwave, and so on. There's a need for insurance to find themselves embedded within those solutions. So we do think that microinsurance opportunities is large. We think that there is a convergence of market need, technological readiness, and of course, regulatory support. And by leveraging these digital platforms, we can overcome the traditional barriers to insurance access and create meaningful protection for families. So what is InsurTech? What do we mean by this? In the Nigerian context, InsurTech, it really extends beyond mobile applications. It represents a fundamental reimagining of how insurance products are designed, distributed, and serviced in our unique market solutions. I don't think it's really, or conditions, I don't think it's really about just copying other countries. We have some unique needs, and there's a need for us to adopt some of those technologies to see how we can push insurance locally. We see it along 5 areas. API-led distribution. I will talk on that subsequently. And that's essentially integrating existing platforms and services to reach customers where they're already engaged digitally. So if somebody is, one of the ideas we had at ICO, I was in the States and I was buying a train ticket and I got popped up with Allianz and various other insurance products to cover my trip from one way to the other. I said, oh, that's simple. And it was just $10. I paid for it and that's insurance. I was covered. Of course, there was no claim. But at the end of the day, I think it does embed that within the life cycle of the customer. And that links me to the embedded insurance. And I think they're both connected. And I'll reflect on that a bit more in the subsequent slides. There's a lot of challenges around digital onboarding. We've seen in our market now that if you want to join the crypto platforms, they will take your picture and link you to your BVN and link you to various other solutions and automatically onboard you within 5 to 10 minutes. I do think that this type of solutions are necessary for us to be able to integrate and simplify the KYC requirements for insurance and regulation. Algorithmic underwriting, I think that's not very popular here yet. We do have a lot of products that are still tariff-based, but I do think that there's a lot of products that we could get, especially within the life space, and of course around parametric models that would also be able to work on some level of algorithmic underwriting. I know on parametric models, we probably have some traditionalists here and some purists here who believe that it's not indemnity insurance and it's probably not insurance and it's more a financial derivative. Maybe it is, but I think in this market, it's a way to ensure that people pick up insurance because they understand that at some level of trigger, they will get a payout. And I think that is very, very useful to increase the level of adoption in our market. How does InsurTech create value? I know that a lot of times we've seen that a lot of companies fail to invest appropriately in InsurTech. I do think that it provides a high level of efficiency and a significant initial fixed costs. If you're able to monetize that significantly, you find that your unit costs begins to reduce over time. So in this case, you don't need to have, unwieldy structures in place to be able to support some of your business strategies. Of course, it provides accessibility. Mobile-first platforms that reach previously underserved populations. And we've seen this operate in other markets, especially markets like Kenya, also Ghana. Even Nigeria is beginning to pick up, but I do think that there's a need for convergence between various regulatory platforms for us to be able to achieve this more seamlessly. And of course, it needs to be a lot more affordable. We find that insurance is getting to a point, especially in our market, where they need to be small tickets, they need to be usage-based, and they need to be tiered. That will require a different type of skill, not just from our own underwriters, but of course from the actuarial profession, where I think is fundamental to ensuring that this is possible. I'll reflect on that later on as well. And of course, data intelligence. We say that, I think I saw there about something about mathematics. Integration of telcos, mobile wallets, behavioral data to enable smarter pricing, more accurate risk assessment, and personalized offerings. Our business school, we worked for an MNO in the US where we were required to predict whether companies or individuals would churn. And based on specific behavioral data, we were very good at predicting the level of churn. And you find that there's some similarities with the way people behave to ensure that you get a specific outcome. Of course, as mathematicians, you can tell me more than I do. Of course, InsurTech improves customer experience, and that goes without saying. If we're able to ensure real-time service delivery, transparent processes, accelerated claim settlements that builds trusts and improve retention. We've seen from the regulator, especially the new leadership, a lot of focus on claims settlement. And companies like ourselves that are over 60 years old, trying to integrate InsurTech within our system to become more efficient is a bit of a challenge. And I'll reflect on that a bit later. But the truth is, InsurTech, the right type of products, the right type of customer experience would improve the trust within our industry and also improve the level of retention. So now when we talk about resilience in action, the keynote speaker mentioned climate change and other forms of resilience required across various verticals in our market. You look at the household resilience. Digital microinsurance products are now providing essential coverage against illness, things like hospital cash, accident or death for Nigeria's vast informal workforce. With very low premiums, these products create safety nets for previously uninsured families. Of course, we've seen that SMEs as well. You can tailor business interruption and asset protection policies delivered through digital partnerships with the likes of MoneyPoint, who have strong relationships with SMEs and business service providers as well, to help small businesses weather unexpected disruptions, from power outages to supply chain issues. Of course, climate resilience, as was mentioned earlier, this really is the use of parametric insurance models. And I know across Africa, we've had a lot of actuaries drive a lot of parametric models, things like Pula and various other solutions, driving these solutions across Africa. We do think that this is very, very useful, and it can cut across more markets beyond climate. I think within our market, where there's not a lot of trust, this kind of models would help give a level of trust within our industry to show that we do pay out, and we pay out very quickly as long as those triggers have been achieved. And of course, InsurTech can lead to faster recovery. A typical recovery time could be 2 to 3 weeks, and that could really defeat the purpose for SMEs or small families. It's important that you're able to provide a return to those families a lot quicker, notably, hopefully within hours, if possible, instead of weeks. And I do believe that InsurTech is possible to achieve that. We'll talk a bit more now about the application in the field. And I'm not advertising for ICO, but of course I work with ICO. And I believe that that would be the best place for me to show some level of application within the field. So we developed an InsurTech platform, which is an acronym for flexible insurance. And as noted on the slide for what we mean by InsurTech, this is really more focused around API-driven distribution and embedded insurance. And I'll provide the use cases of how we've used this across our market. For us, it powers our B2B and our B2C offerings. It provides a differentiated customer experience, things like the use of Ella, the AI app. And of course, it helps businesses to distribute insurance products as auxiliary services, as well as allows startups and InsurTechs to innovate and power new market-leading use cases. It provides direct access to insurance products for customers as well. And for us, we've been able to apply it across various verticals. We've looked at it in the travel insurance market. We've embedded it within the embassy verification. We've embedded it within our motor insurance, and of course the various portals. But the major use case is actually with the airlines. And for some of you that would have traveled locally, you would see that if you buy a ticket on Airpeace, or you buy a ticket from eBom, you will get an opportunity to buy insurance. And that was from my idea in New York when I was taking a train to New Jersey. So I think in applying that same model here, we've been able to grow, and we've sold over 3 million policies through the FlexShore digital platform, largely through these various airlines, domestic travel, and embedded term life policies. What does that mean? I mean, it's a notional value. It used to be 1,000 naira. We've increased it now to 3,000 naira. You see how small that is. So if somebody is buying a ticket for 100 and something K, I'm sure they can afford 2K or 3K for flight cancellations or loss of baggage, and in some cases, term life. We've also been able to embed some of this within our partnerships with brokers and partners to be able to sell international travel insurance. And of course, we have relationships with insurtechs such as My Cover Genius, Bolt, and Paddy Cover. We're also in discussions with others. We've been able to collect, now we're upwards of close to 30 billion through the various channels such as Paystack, InterSwitch, Flutterwave. And this is an application in the field. This is not theory. This is something we've actually done. And it shows us the opportunity that exists if we're able to collaborate together as an industry to embed insurance in all the buying decisions of most customers and make it in such a way that is notional and provides a level of cover that they require. That's our view, and I obviously would be happy to take some comments on that later on. So what are the key considerations? I think that the actuarial profession can really power this innovation. In our case, of course, the domestic travel, the embedded term life was developed by our actuarial team at ICO, working with the various product teams as well as the underwriters to be able to develop this product to meet a specific need for our industry. InsurTech opens exciting new frontiers for actuarial science, I think, particularly in areas like dynamic pricing, innovative risk pooling mechanisms, and predictive claims modeling. That's one thing that we'll really be keen on developing. These developments demand actuaries expand their toolkit beyond traditional statistical methods to enhance data science and machine learning techniques. I think that's already happening. We find that in our company, we find a lot of our actuaries very, very interested in these areas. And when we're having workshops and various other engagements, them with the technology and digital team are critical in these areas. So we think that there's an evolution of the actuarial models. We think that there's a need for, over time, alternative data sources such as mobile usage patterns, digital transaction history, social media behavior. We already know that the US is already looking at social media behavior if you want to get a visa. I think that there is a need for us to look at social media behavior. Like in some markets, when you find that people that drive red cars are more prone to accidents. I think there is a behavior of people where you find with some of the information that you can get. There's a new technical frontier, expertise in data science, machine learning, predictive analysis to complement traditional actuarial models. And of course, we need to balance technical and customer needs, ensuring products are financially sound, are designed with genuine customer value and experience in mind. I'm sure many people would have had this question, what is holding us back as an industry, and what can unlock the scale? For a fact that the fact that we've sold 3 million policies through embedded FlexShore, imagine as an industry if we collaborate and integrate all these solutions within the rail network, all the transportation networks, all the warranties around our shops, even embedded within our markets in Nigeria, imagine the level of cover we could provide for customers at affordable prices. We think that there have been some barriers to insurtech adoption. There's low uptake of regulatory sandboxes. NICOM has provided a regulatory sandbox, and I know that at the last, well, not the last, the previous insurance committee meeting, the Commissioner for Insurance mentioned that there's a need for companies to take this up more. And we will be talking around this when I get to the industry collaboration. Of course, we know that there's a problem with customer trust and literacy in our market. And low insurance literacy compounds existing trust issues, making digital adoption particularly challenging without educational investment. We do have a subcommittee within the insurance committee focused on driving this, working with all insurers, brokers, and the various other verticals in our industry to drive customer trust and literacy. And of course, limited tech capital. There's insufficient capital allocation for technology experimentation in our market, with many insurers still prioritizing traditional infrastructure over digital innovation. Of course, we think this needs to change. And what are the key enablers for growth? There's a need for more collaboration. Forums such as this, especially with key stakeholders like actuaries that are important for this entire transformation to happen, are necessary. I chair the Digital and Technology Advisory Committee of the Nigerian Insurance Association. I also chair the Technology and Talent Subcommittee of the Insurance Committee. So I'm well aware of the level of collaboration that is going on in our industry. And we ran a survey recently across the market, and we tried to understand what the pain points were for most insurers. And the results we got was that some of the pain points were really around KYC, digital onboarding KYC, and the second was around frauds management. So as much as we pay claims, there's a lot of fraud as well in our industry. And a lot of practitioners feel that there's a need for us to be able to provide the level of technology to support insurers to do this better. And based on the outcome of that survey, we will be holding an innovation lab through the NIA. And that innovation lab will be working with the, I think, Impact Hub, if I remember correctly, and some other insurers. I will be holding some hackathons over the next few months. And the objective of this is really to drive some of the context around KYC onboarding, and for us to then take that through a process of regulatory sandboxing as well, and ensure that we're able to deliver to the market. And we think that is instrumental in driving low-ticket microinsurance across our markets. A lot of our players are still commercial insurers, but we have a lot of players now looking to go into the retail SME space because we see that that's where there's a lot of opportunity. There needs to be increased experimentation with sandboxes, as noted, and of course, you guys, the actuarial tech talent, building the local expertise at the intersection of actuarial science and technology, with NAS potentially taking a leadership role in developing specialized training programs. My committee of the IC has been tasked with working with NAS to ensure that we get sufficient funding for NAS, and I will be working with the leadership to ensure that that is achieved for our industry. Hopefully working in collaboration with Dr. Rabiu with the wonderful thing he said around funding, and I think we'll come to you as well to support the industry for that. So, in conclusion, what could the Nigerian insurance landscape look like in 5 years? This is just one simulation. We think that year one there's a need for some foundation building. People always say, I just want to go into InsurTech, I want to do InsurTech, but they don't really have an idea what that means. And I think there's a need for us to agree that widespread API adoption enables initial embedded insurance across payments, across telco, across e-commerce platforms, reaching customers at their digital touch points. I believe that that's critical to ensure that InsurTech becomes part of and starts to add value within our entire industry. This foundation building requires quite a lot of collaboration with our regulatory agencies as well. Thankfully, one of the actions of my committee of the IC as well is to ensure that there is a collaboration between NICOM and the NCC. And I believe that before the next IC meeting in August, NICOM has promised that they will provide an update on that engagement. We think that is critical to be able to get a level of insurance embedded in everything that most people do, similar to something like M-Pesa. Now, within year 2 and 3, we want to integrate intelligence. So that means the use of AI and actuarial models begin working in tandem to enable real-time underwriting decisions with personalized pricing based on individual risk profiles and behaviors. We think that this might be applicable largely within perhaps the life space, even perhaps non-life, but of course some of those areas seem to be tariff-based, but the life space can be a lot more dynamic. And I think that this can be applied across board. Year 3 to 4, there needs to be parametric explosion. I mean, like I said, I know we have purists in this room that believe that it should be indemnity insurance, but we need to be very, very clear about the markets we're serving. We have an industry based on the specific, and our view at ICO, transparent 5 covers into data incrementally on